Hello Cancer, welcome to your October 2022 tarot card and astrology readings. All right, Cancer. So before we get into the reading, I wanted to introduce quickly some of the changes that I'm making to these monthly readings. I just pre-recorded a little bit of a message, so let's get into that first. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jane. I am so thrilled to have you here. For the October readings this month, I've done something just a little bit different. So I'm starting to include a new astrology portion to this reading. I feel like that could add so much more value to each and every one of you as you navigate and try to understand how all of this is going down. October is a huge month astrologically. We have a lot of the outer planets starting to move, and we are building up to an eclipse on the 25th. So there's just a lot to really think about and consider. So the timestamp for both the tarot portion and the astrology portion will be found in the description box down below. And this is one of the reasons why I've separated the big monthly video into 12 separate videos instead of just one big long video. And as always, if you are a subscriber, please be sure to log into your account at janeinternational.com, navigate to the blog page, and you'll see all the comprehensives that you've signed up for available there. All right, now with all that being said, let's get into it. Hello Cancer, welcome to your October 2022 tarot card reading. So we get started with the Knight of Swords in the position that signifies what the universe needs from you right now. So I love the determination that the Knight of Swords brings. He's focused, he is fast moving, he is willing to do what he needs to do. And while the stars do indicate a need to be paced, right? Meaning things are slowing down, because I know that over the past couple of months, things were just really, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of movement, a lot of new stuff, a lot of new ideas. There was a lot. And now Mars is slowing down, preparing for retrograde. Saturn is preparing to go direct. So both Saturn and Mars are just moving really, really slowly. But this Knight of Swords, it's like in spite of the environment, in spite of the astrology, I am still going to charge forward. Now, you may not be going fast, although this card is indicating swiftness, but you're still pushing the envelope. You're continuing to push that boundary further and further and further out from your sort of known world here. You're exploring new things. And then in the Hermit, in the environment position, we have the Hermit, which is kind of an interesting card to get, because it's almost as though the people that, I'm kind of like hearing the word crickets, you know, like how we describe silence as being crickets. You may notice that some people may go MIA, or there may be some kind of a shift in communication with certain people. You may also come in contact with some kind of a mentor or a teacher of some kind that could prove useful for you on your mission here. And I wouldn't take any kind of silence personally. You, with Mars in the 12th house and Saturn in the 8th house and Sun and Venus and eventually Mercury in the 4th house, you may have a desire to kind of pull it into your private world a little bit. So you may be feeling like other people are kind of distancing themselves, but you may also be distancing yourself. I don't think you're going to feel badly about this. It's just something that's just a natural phase that we need to go through sometimes. And of course it will change and shift, but you know, you just may be kind of pulling away and doing things in the privacy of your own world without involving everybody else. You may not be as out there as maybe you normally are, just simply because you're so focused and so determined on the things that are mattering to you right now. If you do happen to meet a mentor or a teacher, chances are they are going to offer you incredible advice, but the advice may require you to do some, we do have this new moon eclipse happening in Scorpio on the 25th of October. So there is a quality of destruction with that, just simply because that's the nature of Scorpio. It's like creation with a new moon, but via destruction. Okay, now destruction does not have to mean like your whole life falls apart. It just means that something needs to be disassembled. Okay, and this person absolutely has your best interest at heart if this is in fact a mentor of some kind. They don't have an investment in you. And I think that's sometimes the best, is when someone who does not have an investment in you offers you advice. Because if someone has too much of an investment, they may say things that you want to hear as opposed to things you need to hear. So being in touch with people who can be honest with you actually is going to help you run even faster. Okay? Now with the 9 of Wands in the reversal and the 3 of Coins in the reversed position or direction, I feel like your guard is being let down here. You are in a highly receptive mode, which is likely why certain people's advice or certain people's ideas, like they're really landing on you, right? Like they're sinking in. There's no hard-headedness here. You are available to see the world from other people's angles. And I think you're just listening right now. You're listening and you're doing, and you're listening and you're doing. A lot of implementation right now for Cancer. This is highly active, but again, it seems to be very quiet and private. Like people don't know what's really going on. So whatever you're developing, whatever you're creating, whatever you're putting out there, I feel like something is brewing and stirring. It's kind of like you're sort of mixing all these beautiful ingredients into your witch's cauldron and sort of stirring everything together. And no one really is like, everyone is none the wiser, right? And I think you're ready for this disassembly. You know, I think you're ready for something to be deconstructed in your life. Some kind of a system or a structure that just really has kind of grown decrepit. You know, it just is, it's like a condemned building, you know. It's hard to revive it. It's hard to make it or bring it back to its original beauty. And maybe the easiest thing, it's not even so much that it's the easiest. I think it's the best thing. The best thing is to just tear it down so that you can build something else that is really, really beautiful. And I feel that the Hermit is going to, you know, really be advising a lot in that capacity, saying or helping you to really think about something in a completely new way, completely new perspectives. When we have Mars in transit, specifically a Mars retrograde going on in the 12th house, it's no surprise that something needs to dissolve, right? Something needs to fall apart, or there needs to be some kind of a loss. Now, we don't always perceive these things as losses per se, because it's not always detrimental to our lives. It's just that something needs to go. And here's the Ace of Cups saying, yes, please, like I'm trying to come in. An Ace of Cups is kind of a new feeling of, now I'm going to say this, I normally say these words in connection with the Ace of Wands, but I am feeling the word passion with this card. Okay, normally I feel that with the Ace of Wands. But a new passion, a new love, a new connection, a new pathway to find fulfillment is trying to come in. A new pathway to help you establish stability. And I think stability is quite important for you during Libra season, because obviously this is 4th house activation for you. And with Venus down here, I think that it's something that you truly value. You value the stability, you value the commitment, you value the longevity. And that's the thing, is maybe this has been a little overdue because you didn't know what to replace it with. It was a little overdue to come down because you weren't ready to say goodbye to this way of life. But now that there is a promise of new stability with something new, you are more than willing to let this go. And you can tell, I think everybody, astrologically, we can all tell that there's something in the air. Things are shifting, things are transitioning. We are distancing ourselves more and more and more from our pasts. And we are starting to embrace the new exciting chapters that we feel are inevitable for us. And we are starting to feel more stable, and you, Cancer especially, you are starting to feel more stable in your new things, even if they haven't arrived yet. You're willing to create space because you know there will be stability there. You know there won't be loss, there won't be pain, there will be fulfillment. And that any worst case scenario that you may have concocted in your mind is just simply not holding up. Like you don't even believe that the worst case scenario will actually happen, because in your heart of hearts, you know it won't, because your soul is telling you that it won't. That you're going to build something strong and firm and beautiful, and something that you can celebrate, and something that you can enjoy for a very, very long time. But you are needing to take a little bit of a hit up front. And I saw this for Gemini as well. Now, for those of you, wondering why am I bringing up Gemini? First of all, Gemini is in your 12th house, so it has a deep subconscious roots for you. And a lot of you are also Vedic Geminis as well. Okay, so you have a deep tie with Gemini in a lot of ways. So this notion of losing something or having to move forward minus something, I think applies for you as well. And I see that with the Six of Coins. That even though Libra season is about establishing balance, sometimes in order to establish balance, it's not always about adding on to the side of the scale that doesn't have enough weight, but more so, or more often than not, it's about taking off from the scale that has too much weight. And I think that's what's happening here, is you're taking off from the heavy side of the scale in order to establish balance. This is going to be a much more effective and much faster way to achieve balance, quote unquote, than it is to try to add something. Trying to take something away. Uncomplicate, simplify our lives. Because it's worth it. Whatever this is, this new love, passion, connection, it is so worth it. And there's something so beautiful about that thing for you. And when we have the Strength card, you have that lion heart, that persevering, but also deserving approach. You feel deserving of this. And maybe in the past, right here, before you understood what deserving was, or worthiness even was, right? Before you even came into that process of healing, that's where this structure came from. But you don't need that structure anymore, because it's no longer keeping you safe. It has officially become a liability, right? In the way that a condemned house becomes a liability. So you make the call. And it does require courage to do that. You make the call to sever things. You make the call to even quit things. And I don't even think you're really all that upset about it. Now, with the Knight of Swords reversed, which obviously matches the Knight of Swords here, with the Knight of Swords reversed, I feel a little bit of like a scatter. Like, you know how when you accidentally, hopefully you're not doing this on purpose, but if you've ever accidentally like stepped on or broken an anthill, and all the ants come out, and it's all like this frenzy, right? Hopefully My brother used to kick those on purpose when we were little. It used to always break my heart. But there was always this frenzy of ants. And I'm sensing that kind of a frenzy in response or in reaction to this. And it's like when you disassemble something, it can feel unanchored. You can feel up in the air, untethered. And other people may feel that way as well. You know, when you rip off the Band-Aid, maybe you're not just ripping off the Band-Aid for yourself. Maybe that's happening for someone else too. And maybe they're not prepared, and maybe they're not super happy about it, and whatever the case may be, it still is getting done anyway. And there's really nothing you can do once that Band-Aid has been ripped off. You know, you can't stick it back on. You can't rebuild the little anthill. You just have to kind of move on. And so you can maybe expect a little bit of reshuffling and other people having to accommodate, but I think that's okay. I don't see that being the worst thing in the world, you know. I don't think Cancer is in a place where they're like afraid to hurt people's feelings, and not because you're trying to be malicious and not because you're trying to intentionally hurt them, but just because it's like it's better to have someone have hurt feelings than it is to operate in a lie, or to continue to perpetuate a lie, or to perpetuate something that makes you unhappy, right? And so I think you've kind of come to that place. It's not what you want to do. You don't want to create the frenzy. You don't want to feel the chaos, but it's worth it for what you're going to get. Especially with the Three of Wands right next to it, it's all about like the ships coming in. Now, the thing about the Three of Wands is there's really nothing you can do to bring those ships in any sooner. They have to come in your own time. And one of the things with the Strength card is there is a lot of faith here as well. I don't often talk about faith with the Strength card because I have other cards that I more often reference faith, but faith is a mark of strength. To be patient. Because some people will do this, right, the Tower, and then they don't immediately get this, and so they freak out, right, Knight of Swords reversed, they freak out and try to like fix and reconstruct and go backwards because they don't understand that there's like a transition phase. They don't understand that time needs to lapse before the new thing really comes in. Because this sends out a whole new resonance out there, right? Just like this happens and boom, all this new energy, all this new frequency out into the cosmos, doing its thing, only to boomerang back, right? An Ace of Cups. This is an effect of this. And that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be surprised that that's coming in. But if you try to reconstruct this because you can't handle waiting, Nine of Swords pointing straight there. We've got two very stressed out cards pointing or moving in the direction of this Three of Wands. It's like, yes, there is going to be a period of waiting after the Tower happens. And I think a lot of people are not going to handle that period of waiting very well. Because there's no instant gratification there. We are, whether we like to admit it or not, a culture of instant gratification. We want to see the effects like that. We want to see the turnaround like that. But right now, throughout Libra and Scorpio seasons, it's best to let things play out before committing to something. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because the South Node is in Scorpio. And when the South Node comes into Libra next year, I'll probably say the same thing. Commitment is a very tricky thing right now. Okay, it has been and it will continue to be. I'm not saying you can't commit entirely. I'm not saying to take that off the table, but you really have to be sure. Like really, really, really sure. And it's like when you do a Tower thing, when you make the commitment to disassemble something, You have to be really sure. And I think you are. Other people, not so much. But you have to be sure in the wait period after as well. Continue to be sure. Continue to be certain that that was the best move. If you backtrack or go backwards or try to revisit something, especially as Mercury makes its way through Libra, there is that connection with the past there. But that's not where the gold is. That's not where the love is. That's not where the fortune and the fulfillment and the enlightenment is. This Knight of Swords is here to tell you, just keep looking forwards. That's all you can do. Just keep looking forward. A lot of people are going to try to get you to go backwards, but you're going to have to stay strong and you're going to have faith. It's kind of like Noah building the ark in the middle of the forest. Looks like a fool because people don't understand. And then all of a sudden, here comes the rain, and all of a sudden, not really a fool anymore. Okay? I think you are risking looking silly a little bit. I don't know that everyone truly understands with that 3 of Coins reversed. I don't know that everyone is totally on board. But you're in a highly receptive mode, like I said, so you're probably receiving, deeper yearnings from the higher self or your soul or whatever you want to refer to it as. You're receiving these deeper yearnings which are guiding you right now, and they are not misguiding you, and that's important to remember. Okay. I do think you have a sounding board over here, though. All right, let's go ahead and pull out the clarifiers. So for those of you who are new, please bear with me. I'm about to say a lot of things. All right, the cards I'm about to pull out are the cards we will cover in the comprehensive reading. The link for that will be found in the description box and the comment thread down below. We usually talk for another 25 to 30 minutes about these cards. So it's kind of like getting a whole second reading, and sometimes we get a little deeper and get some new information. There's also several ways to purchase. You can just do a single one-off purchase, or you can subscribe. There are some benefits to a subscription. You'll also get access to the weekly extendeds, which I do on Monday, and the love extended readings that I do on Friday. So there's a lot more content actually with that subscription. Okay, so let's go ahead here and take a look at the Knight of Swords. What else does Cancer need to know? 6 of Wands. Beautiful. 8 of Wands. We love that. High Priestess reversed. Queen of Wands. Knight of Cups. Eight of Cups. Okay. Now let's take a look at the 9 of Wands. 3 of Swords reversed. Oh, Knight of Wands and the Lovers. I feel like Cancer is so ready to unify, and that could be with another person, like romantically or professionally. It could be within yourself. You're just so ready to unify and to come into a wholeness in your life. It's 5 of Wands. Temperance, King of Wands. Well, there's the Ace of Wands. Oh, another Tower. Oh, goodness. I have a feeling that has to do with the eclipse. It may have a little something to do with Pluto moving direct on the 8th, or the full moon conjunct Chiron on the 10th. On the 9th. Maybe it's the 8th and 9th, but it could also be like around the 25th. Something is... We're getting a double whammy of the Tower, so Justice, 10 of Cups. Oh my gosh, stop it. See, 10 of Swords reversed. Two of Coins. I saw the Hermit, so we got to pull that one. Page of Swords, 7 of Cups, an Emperor. Eight of Swords, 5 of Swords. There is going to be a real battle within yourself in terms of your full-on commitment to the destruction or deconstruction. I like that word better, deconstruction. It's going to be a battle within yourself regarding that. 7 of Coins. Yeah, that Knight of Swords reverse is kind of harmless. I don't know that that's really a card to really worry about here. Star, beautiful. Another 9 of Swords. Ace of Cups, though. There seems to be stress around waiting. Ten of Wands. Okay, so this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So if you want to join me, you are more than welcome. Again, all the info in the description box and the comment thread down below. And if not, then I hope you guys have an amazing October. I wish you nothing but the best. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, Cancer. Welcome to the astrology portion of this reading. Now, I figured I would incorporate this month because, I always reference the stars in the tarot card portion of the reading, but I know that some people are a lot more visual and would like to maybe have a better idea or a better concept of exactly where these things are actually taking place in the chart. So let's go ahead here and talk a little bit about October, which is a huge month astrologically. There is so much happening, and there has been a lot happening, all right? I mean, there's been so much movement this year, and we know that 2022, right, is a year. 2 + 2 + 2 is 6, is ruled by Venus. 6 is ruled by Venus. So we know that this is a Venusian year, meaning we are establishing balance and order in our lives after 2021, which was a little bit more chaotic as it's ruled by Mercury. And here we are now in Venusian ruled Libra season. This is 4th house activation for you. So it does seem like you are establishing or placing a greater value on firm foundations. Now, some of you may be rectifying things of the past. Some of you may be revisiting psychologically or through meditation or maybe actually things of your past, your relationship with your parents. But it's not to punish yourself and it's not to punish them, and it's not even really about anger so much as it is about compassion and forgiveness and kind of releasing yourself from the bonds of that time in your life. The fact that we had a new moon in Libra on the 29th of September, which is opposite exactly, almost exact of Jupiter, okay? And I know that's not quite October. We're still kind of a couple days before October. But that new moon happening in opposition here with Jupiter, I think brought an entirely new, or had the potential anyway, to bring an entirely new perspective of the past and an understanding of how you have been able to leverage your past. Maybe some of you leveraged it into a career. Some of you leveraged it into healthy relationships. Maybe some of you leveraged it into a great deal of money, or maybe all of the above, hopefully, or even good health, whatever it is. But being able to leverage that to become the person that you have become, thereby rewriting this narrative that maybe was established and maybe was there for far too long. A big part of this, assistance-wise too, has been Saturn in your 8th house. Saturn is actually going to be going direct this month on the 23rd of October, which just so happens to be the exact same day that the Sun and Venus both come into Scorpio. They're going to be like conjunct, so exactly on top of each other, moving into Scorpio on the 23rd. We are going to feel that shift big time because look, that last week and a half of October is massive. All right. We got a couple little things before that, like Mercury goes direct and comes back into Libra. We've got a full moon in Aries conjunct Chiron over here. So here it is in your 10th house, full moon on the 9th of October. So we got a few little events happening first, but man, that last week and a half. Okay. So to recap, Saturn goes direct. Venus and the Sun move into Scorpio. 2 days after that, we have an eclipse in Scorpio, a new moon eclipse. And then a few days after that, we have Mars going retrograde. Okay? Also, Jupiter is moving back into Pisces. This is a little bit more significant for the cardinal signs than it is for anybody else, because this is activating your cardinal cross, which is like the 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, and 10th house cusps. For you, it's right over the 10th house cusp. But yes, your 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, and 10th house will all be affected by that as well. So your career, your sense of identity, your sense of self, establishing new roots and new foundations, and your relationships, there could be a revisiting of something in one of those areas. Also your career, did I say career? Or your more public life anyway. There may be a revisiting of new ideas or a revisiting of how you really do want to expand. Because I do feel that Cancer has been very expansive this year in multiple ways, which has been fantastic and amazing. But now, maybe between the beginning of this year and now, right? So these 9-10 months or so, maybe now you're like, okay, so I pushed really hard. I did pedal to the metal. I was really, really working. I was going after it. I was doing all of these things. And now let me like reset and reboot and make sure that this is truly the direction that I want to go. One thing I will say is that throughout the whole of October, Mars is going very slow. All right. And he's only moving 5 degrees all month. So he does his retrograde officially at 25 degrees of Gemini. This is activating your 12th house. Now, 12th house is a little bit of a lazier house. Sometimes they say that planets and transits that happen here are kind of hidden, so that Mars energy might not necessarily be that easy to access. Although Jupiter energy is very easy for you to access, being in the 10th house. So this indicates to me that you are going to be much more receptive, because I often see Jupiter being much more receptive than Mars, right? Because Mars is all about conquering things. He wants to go out and he wants to go get things, where Jupiter wants to receive things. All right, this is a huge difference. This is more affluent. Right, Jupiter is more affluent because he tends to have certain avenues and channels of things coming to him, where Mars feels the need to go out and get them. All right, so the fact that you're leaning a little bit more into the Jupiterian energy, which, by the way, is the planet that is exalted in your sign. So Jupiter is a hefty planet for Cancer. So being able to receive things and being able to receive inspiration or new notions, new ideas, new opportunities, that's going to be huge for you, because I know that you have gone through some pretty substantive change. Okay, 8th house Saturn is a very dense placement. It may have made it challenging to establish long-lasting bonds, but I think that energy is starting to shift now. It's starting to convert into something where where you actually can make these long-lasting bonds, but Mars moving very slow, and also, by the way, Saturn also moving very slow because he's about to go direct. So he's like kind of moving into that station direct degree, and then he'll start going forward. We are being paced and we are being asked to make intentional, purposeful choices and decisions. And if we can't do that from a place of purity, it's better to just not do it at all, because we don't want to get ourselves into a karmic mess, right? We don't want to get ourselves into some kind of a karmic disaster. We're trying to clear up karma. We are trying to live a more simple, more straightforward life, and bringing up anything from the past, or bringing up any in a negative way anyway. You can bring up stuff from the past in terms of what I just said earlier about the fourth house stuff. But drudging anything up, I just don't know that Cancer is available for that in any capacity, like in no capacity whatsoever. And actually this full moon, which is happening in Aries, now we've had 3 big moons. We have to kind of just take a look at what's happening moon-wise, okay? Throughout 2022, starting in July, we had the full moon conjunct Pluto. In August, full moon conjunct Saturn. In September, full moon conjunct Neptune. In October, we have a full moon conjunct Chiron. And then in November, we're going to have a full moon eclipse conjunct Uranus. Yet again, Uranus involved in this eclipse cycle. So all these 5 months, the moon has been accentuating these massive planets, which has been sort of breadcrumbing us toward this greater change, or this greater new chapter. And as Saturn moves direct and makes his way toward Pisces, and Pluto goes direct and makes his way toward Aquarius, both of those transits are officially activating an entirely new, like 20-year era, because that's how long Pluto is going to be in Aquarius, until 2044. Now, Pluto will go into Aquarius, dip back into Capricorn, and then move back in 2024. But still, like, this is Pluto's last hurrah in Capricorn. Like, for real. Sorry, my cat just made a noise. Like, for real. So it's coming online in a really big way. My cat's breaking something. It's coming online in a big way for us. We can tell, we can feel it. And this full moon on the 9th of October, I keep wanting to say the 10th, but that's the day that Mercury moves back into Libra. But this full moon conjunct Chiron is really going to illuminate the I don't know that it's going to illuminate the pain so much as it's going to illuminate the healing that we've done, and give us that opportunity to be grateful for ourselves, be grateful for our self-awareness, be grateful for the love and the compassion that we hold in our hearts for the sake of letting go and releasing, as Saturn in the 8th house is really wanting us to do, or you to do, Cancer, really wanting you to do, and saying, are you ready for the next ride? Okay, because it's going to be a whole new ride for you. But to find that gratitude and that love and that compassion with the moon conjunct Chiron, that'll be a beautiful week. And yes, there may be a lot of emotion, there may be fear, there may be some insecurities that surface, but it's not to indulge in those and to give those any kind of credit so much as it is to say, look at how much I have accomplished in spite of those things. Okay? All right, Cancer. I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much. Let me know in the comments if you guys liked this additional little, 10, 15 minute portion. I don't know how long I've been talking, but this little 10, 15 minute portion with the astrology so you guys can see everything. I don't know if I'll continue doing it. I just wanted to give it a shot, see how it was received, and we'll go from there. All right. Have a great October, Cancer. You know I love and adore you. Talk to you soon. Take care.